Well, it's 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening. 7 o'clock p.m. that is, for those of us in the correct time zone, the central time zone. Here I am in frostbitten, godforsaken Wisconsin on a Sunday night. I'd like to say that it's colder than a witch's tit out there, but we try to keep this to be a G-rated show. Kind of. Not really. Anyway, well, welcome. It's another super exciting, ultra awesome Packers Just Lost episode of the Painting with MkII John show. I'm MkII John, your host with the Kraken, and with me I have, as always, the host with the host, Mr. John Spencer. How you doing, John?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great now that I actually have a feed that works. This is so awesome. Our little experiment this afternoon with Mr. Norbert Brunhuber of the greater UK area was a straight-up disaster. It turns out, for those of you who attempted to dial in and watch that show, that somehow I had managed to change the wonderful encoding codec on my software, and that rendered it impossible for Twitch to know what to do with. So you'd get like this burst of a second or two of music, and then it would say, F that, and shut down. So, yay, that was super awesome. I want to reach out to our 16 viewers. 16, right at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Can you believe it, John?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
I want to thank all the brush heads, all the legendary brush heads, the folks that are with us each and every week. I'm looking through the list here. You know, it's getting to the point, John, where I'm afraid to go through the list and recognize people because I don't want anybody to have their feelings hurt. But
fair enough.
But I feel like I got to reach out to Tad Go, and I've got to reach out to Nevendar. They've been with me since day one. Orsis Zoktavir, I got to reach out to him too. But for the rest of you, we got a Gex Lizard in the house. Jackie's in the house, so that is awesome. I am super happy that all of you could join us this evening. The chat room is available as always, and I want to say hi to everybody that's saying hello to me there in the chat room. It's super awesome. It's just not a Sunday night, John, without painting with MkII John.
That is true.
My gosh, I have gotten attached to this show.
It's a good time. It is a good time.
So, to all the legendary brush heads and new brush heads that are with us tonight, this Kraken right here, this one's for you. Hey, Ron!
Ron!
John, what are you having this evening? Did you bust out the Kraken?
Oh, I did.
Oh, God bless you. I got to show something to the brush heads. I got to put this up. This is a sad situation. I'm putting the bottle of Kraken out. There is about 2 fingers of Kraken left in this 1.75 liter bottle. And my local grocery store, because grocery stores carry liquor, hard liquor in this state, they do not carry the Kraken. So I will have to be on a search for the Kraken. And, man, I'm going to tell you what, it's kind of a sad thing.
Well, that 2 fingers is probably half of what's in my bottle. My bottle's tiny.
This is a big damn bottle of Kraken. I think I'm going to start lining up the empty bottles of Kraken along the back wall of the painting table here, just to keep track of how much booze I've done during the course of this show.
That will be impressive.
Well, my friend, I've got some models to show off from last week. First off, we're going to start off with the 3 Gator models that I was working on. Many of you remember that I had gotten to the point where I was going to be doing the water effects, and I'm going to do the best job I can to show them here. This is Snapjaw that I have up here right now, and I'm going to be tilting him at a jaunty angle here so people can see. But what I did is I used some Army Painter Swamp Tufts, and I put those down. Before I did that, though, I painted the entire base below using a combination of the Badger Airbrush Colors sewage water and a little bit of the Badger Airbrush color known as, I think it was Jauntus that I used, which was the same as the underbelly of the gators. And put that on there. I put some Elmer's glue on there and did some normal sand ballast kind of basing. And then I put these swamp tufts down, and I used a product that I'm sure most of you out there who have played around with the water effects have used. This is the Woodland Scenics Realistic Water. I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job of getting the whole label here on camera, but I'll do the best job I can. It's known as Realistic Water. It's a 16-ounce bottle. It cost me $15.99, so $1 an ounce. You know, you can't get a good shot of Kraken for $1 an ounce.
Definitely not.
That first shot went down awfully fast here this afternoon, John. So at first, what I had done was I mixed a little bit of sewage water into the water, just to give it a little bit of color. But I don't know, John. I don't know if you go ahead and you paint the base like I did. I don't know that sewage water in the water effect itself is necessarily important. But so it turned out pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see that out there. So that's Snapjaw. I think that this one might even show it off a little bit better. This is Tick Tock. He is named after the gator in Peter Pan. And I think he turned out pretty darn great. And
he looks good.
He should be coming up on camera here pretty soon. I seem to be holding everything a long ways away from the center point of the camera, so we're going to try and bring him in a little bit closer. And then finally for the gators, we have Mr. Wrong Eye and his base as well. The thing that I liked about it is when I put the water effect down, it kind of leached up into the swamp tuft, which I think gave it a really nice effect. So I think they're all finished now. They're ready to go. They're a part of a, surprise, surprise, a Bart Galleon list that I'm going to be playing with probably this coming weekend. I've got this one here. This is the Steelsoul Protector that I'm painting for Edifo. I'm not sure if he's in the chat room yet, but hopefully he'll get a chance to see this. I'll take some pictures to send him. But it did a little bit of OSL on this one, a little object source lighting, and I think she turned out pretty nifty.
Yep, she's definitely looking good.
Very simple model to paint. I used the cold steel and then washed it down with the Seraphim Sepia from Citadel. And I did, on here I used, along with the cold steel, I used brass balls and roulette gold to kind of give it a graduated kind of color to the metals. And then did OSL with some arcane blue. I think she turned out pretty nifty.
Definitely.
Yeah, she's a good looking model. So I'm not going to base it because I figured, people have certain bases that they like to have to make it similar with the rest of the army. So I already told Edifo that I'm not going to base it, but there we go. That's his. And then this afternoon I started working on some models for tonight's show. So tonight's show I'm going to be working on a Lord Rockbottom. He's in my Osram list that I run with Earthbreaker because he's funny with Fire for Effect. And then, go ahead, John.
Oh, he's pretty effective with Fire for Effect.
Oh, you bet he is. You bet he is.
Boosted sprays are a thing.
Yes, they are. And then I've got a pair of little pork missiles. I've got a couple of these razor bores, and I'm going to be working on those. They're mostly done as far as the base coating is concerned. I just need to do some washes on them. And then lastly, I have an attendant priest I'm going to work on because I lost a bet. So if the Packers had beaten the if the Packers had beaten the Detroit Lions, I don't even remember what model I was going to get, but they didn't, and so now I'm painting this this Attendant Priest, and the color scheme that I'm going for is the one that I kind of came up with for my Protectorate a little bit later on, and I'm going to show him next to it. But it is a predominantly sanguine base, and then I use the Rulic Gold for the gold that I use, and then a little bit of the Menoth White base to make it pop, and then I use do some washes and stuff. But we'll see that as we go along, right, John?
Indeed.
Okay. So what are you working on? I've been showing models since I was bored. My girlfriend was out of town for the last few days, so I've been painting my sorry white ass off.
Well, I'm working on the bases to some Nis Hunters. I got my Hyperion base done, so I'm working on their bases so I can start painting the rest of them.
Woohoo! Hyperion.
I'm crazy. I start with the base, get that done, so I only have to be very careful at the feet and don't have to worry about it the rest of the way.
Man, I have the worst. I've never done it that way, but I should try doing it that way sometime.
I also find that having the basing on before you prime it gives it that little extra level of stickiness, so bits don't fall off.
Well, there you go. That's a good idea.
For the longest time, basing was my biggest weakness. Okay. I couldn't get anything based to save my life.
Well, I'll have to definitely give it a try.
Yeah, it works pretty good now. I mean, I use 2 layers of PVA glue, one base, put the basing on there, put a watered down layer over it, and then prime over it, and I almost never have pieces come off, so that's thumbs up.
Awesome, awesome. It's always good when shit doesn't fall off your stuff.
Indeed.
So I am going to start to get a little jiggy with it here with the pigs. I'm going to get the piggy with it. See what I did there?
Do you have E. Magnus around? I'd go in to take a look at him if you got him.
If you want to vamp for a second, I'll go get him.
Sure.
Okay, vamp for a few seconds. I'm on my way.
No problem. I hope everyone had a great New Year. I had a good night hanging out with Centervale and a couple other guys, playing some board games, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And I also want to let you guys know, if you have any at all Flippity Bloop questions, we're running kind of low this week. Just ask them here, or if you want to jump over to the Facebook page for some reason, you can ask them there as well. Or any other questions. Throw them out there. You guys seem kind of quiet right now, rather than Banyan and Centervale yabbering back and forth, which they can do at the local store anytime, at least for the next week or so. And I also want to say hi to, if he's still there, Cheated Fates Joe. I listen to Cheated Fates every once in a while. You have a pretty good podcast, sir. Good to see you here. Kind of surprised to see you here, but welcome.
Hey, we take everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, versus Octobar, I will talk a little about King of Tokyo. Always play a little bit of King of Tokyo.
Oh yeah, we're going to have a section on King of Tokyo here as a part of the first half hour if I ever shut up.
I play that game so much, you'd think I owned it. But I don't.
You do.
I play Banyan's copy.
Nice. So here is Mr. Epic Magnus. I'm going to try to make sure I get him in good focus here. I'm going to bring up the web settings camera. Here, let's make sure I got him in really good focus here. This may take a few seconds for me to get the focus proper. But let's see here. Whoa, that didn't... Right, let's just autofocus that. See if that helps.
I think it looks good.
This is... Oh, wait. I know what I can do. I was looking at the wrong picture. Hang on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this up to 200%. There we go. Now I'm going to get the focus. Okay. I can do this. I swear to God I can do this.
Well, it's hard to tell because the video is a couple minutes behind. Well, a minute behind, maybe. Not a couple minutes.
I went back to the encoder page and I'm looking straight at that. So you're going to notice that the focus is going to like freak out for a minute or two, but here he is. And I put up a video this week on how to do this rust effect that I have on the base, and that is on YouTube. So just go ahead and look at the normal Painting with Menoth John site and take a look at it. And I think I did it on a Gorman model that I did for Chris Olhafen that I gave to him this week, and he certainly liked it and thought it was pretty cool. So that's using the Typhus Corrosion and the Ryza Rust from Citadel. And
Yeah, I watched that. It was pretty legit.
yeah, that turned out really good. So hopefully that's enough Epic Magnus. So I don't
You
want
ever have enough Epic Magnus?
So
It's for fun.
absolutely. I mean, he's Killbox. It's a thing.
Oh, the first time you popped it on somebody, they're like, "Wait, what?
Huh?
I can't do what?"
No, you're only moving side to side this turn. So speaking of side to side, why don't we talk? Let's hear about some of your board gaming that took place this week, sir.
Well, board gaming on the run up to New Year's Eve, hanging out at the local store, as I would do because I had a day off. We played some King of Tokyo. It was a good time. Just some locals playing. I did get one game where I taught them that rolling numbers and scoring victory points is a thing and can win you a game.
As a matter of fact, it can.
And then we went had New Year's Eve at our buddy Joe's house.
Mm-hmm.
And played some. We played some Arkham Horror.
How did that go? Did any of the old ones get you?
We didn't get through the entire game, to be honest.
That'll happen with that game.
I find that perhaps starting with a shot of 12-year Scotch, then a shot of Kraken, then a shot of
oh my,
what's that called? Of another Scotch. Probably not the best start for me wanting to play a game I've never played on an empty stomach.
Well, there you go.
But it was a good time. Some guy, none of us had ever played the game before except the guy who owns it, Joe. And I was playing the student, who's, a nice female student, whatever.
Yep, I know where that was.
Starting off with, for some reason, a 45 automatic, which I named No Means No, because, that's what it does.
That's hysterical.
And I just went around just capping beasts. I didn't, yes, Intervale, so much tentacle rape that night.
God.
We learned a valuable lesson. If you see something floating down the waterway, don't grab for it. It's a tentacle. You know what it's going to do to you.
Bad things are going to happen.
One guy, he's playing the hobo who comes with the dog, and all he could do really was get beaten up and go to the hospital.
Yep.
And then, some really nasty monster parked right there. He couldn't sneak past it and just kept getting sent back to the hospital. But probably about 10 or 11, we had enough of that, cleaned it up, and just hung out.
Very nice.
The next day, at the store again, painting some more of the Hyperion base, I found some time for some more King of Tokyo, because there's always time for King of Tokyo.
It's like the Jello of board games. There's always room for Jello. There's always room for King of Tokyo.
It was definitely a good time.
Love that game.
But shockingly, I got no games of War Machine in this week.
Well, that'll happen.
And then to finish off, last night after working, which it sucked having to work a Saturday, but hey, happens once in a while.
Yep.
And but Centerville had just bought Smash Up with its 2 expansions. We played that.
Did you play with the obligatory Cthulhu expansion?
Yeah. Not a fan of that expansion.
Really?
The guys tell me that if you all play something for that expansion, it's fine. But we didn't know. We'd never played before.
Yep.
So we were all playing normal stuff except for Banyan, who grabbed Elder Ones and Wizards.
Oh God! Did it just wipe the table?
No, that was just annoying.
Oh, okay.
So we had that. Centerville was playing Robots and Ghosts.
Ghost robots are good.
Yeah, and then Bowie, if he was in here, he's not, but he was playing Zombies and Dinosaurs.
Nice.
And I had Ninjas and Bear Cavalry.
I love the Bear Cav.
Oh, the Bear Cav are crazy good.
The Bear Cav are insane.
It's like, I'm going to move you from here to here and then murder you.
Sounds good. That's what they do.
It ended up with myself and the zombie dinosaurs tying after madness cards were counted up.
I think the concept of zombie dinosaurs is fairly awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Of course, they're zombies. They're extinct.
Yep. Definitely a game I'd like to give another chance to. on very little sleep, and after working a whole day,
Yeah.
the madness stuff was a little much. But I think if you just add the right stuff, it sounds like it could be good. It's kind of like playing High Command without that deck building extra crap. Not that I mind High Command, but easy is good.
I wish that High Command was better. You know?
I think once they get some more expansions out and you can really change the way you play by mixing up the decks a little bit, it could be awesome.
Yeah. Right now I'm just like completely underwhelmed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's one of those guys like, yeah, I'll play it. I'm not going to buy it. Don't be crazy, but I'll play it.
Unfortunately, I've bought into it, and I have the Hordes and the War Machine one, and I bought the big guns because I was at War Machine weekend, and I was like, well, I'm bought into it. Might as well get the big guns, but I'm not. It's never seeing the table. When I go up to my game store in Milwaukee, it's mostly to play War Machine. And if I'm going to make the big drive up to Milwaukee, by God, I want to play me some War Machine.
Yeah, that's true. It's just one of those games, like every once in a while someone's like, well, hey, let's play this, and if the guys who own it are there, we'll play it.
Yep. I won't turn down a single-player game of it.
I haven't played a single player. I've only played a multiplayer.
Excuse me, I misspoke. I'm sorry, John. I will not turn down a multiplayer version of that game.
Gotcha.
I will happily turn down a single-player version of that game.
Well, I look at it, it's like why I don't play Magic anymore, aside from the cost. It's if I have two people, let's play a miniatures game.
Yep, exactly. I hear you.
More than two people, well, we should be role-playing or playing a board game. Lots of individual games.
Man, I wish I had more role-playing time.
I'm about to start a game at the local store. There's some people who are role players. There's actually one guy who works there who has never played a role-playing game in his 20-some-odd years.
Nice.
I was interested. And then a young lady who moved here from Iowa, who's a role player by nature and sort of been sucked into the miniatures game, who's been looking for something. And my local group, we used to play every other Saturday, and we haven't played since... Heck, we haven't played for most of the year, to be honest.
My Fridays are just, which is when the group that does IKRPG in my area, when they get together, it's just my Fridays are usually, if I don't have my kids, I mean, kind of like to go out with my girlfriend on a Friday, and it's just hard for me to justify the time, but anyway.
When someone with a gaming spouse, my suggestion is get her involved.
Oh yeah, and Belinda's super awesome about playing games and stuff. There's no question about that. She's a rock star when it comes to that stuff. But the kid thing is problematic.
Yeah, that's one of my few role-playing rules that are enforced and I never change.
Oh, you can't have kids.
No kids. Sorry.
No,
unless the kids are playing.
That doesn't work.
It can, but they have to get into the teams, and before that it works.
Yep, absolutely. I have no problems with that rule whatsoever. Hey, I got a couple games in. God.
Yeah, unlike me, you got some games in. It's crazy talk.
How did this show become short? That's what I want to know. How the hell did this show become short? It's like I'm playing Beat the Clock all of a sudden in the first half hour.
We started adding sections and trying to be organized and crap.
The show's better for it, though, John.
I agree.
It's way better for it. Okay, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do him next. I hate to leave anything not on the camera because that's just bad podcasting. But, okay, I got 2 games in. We're going to make these fast bat reports. These are going to be like opposite of Crump battle reports. But I'm going to start off with I played both for 50-point games. We've got a tournament coming up here in Milwaukee on Saturday of next week. And while I love my Protectorate, I played a couple lists with Sevi 1 that were such negative play experiences for my folks in my meta that I just feel a little bit bad running with them. So I thought, well, I'll try the big new sexy, and that would be the one and only Earthbreaker! I love that Earthbreaker. Hey, we're up to 23 people. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're getting there.
So I've got an Osram list. I'm playing Osram in a theme list, believe it or not. And most people will look at you like, theme list? Why? If you're gonna go all Rulic, take the Rulic contract and get the extra 4 inches. Well, not with Ostrom, you don't. And I'll explain why here in a second. Hey, I managed to paint my cable on my camera. That's pretty awesome. So Ostrom's theme list. If you have, let's see, how does it work? If you've got like more than 2 units with ranged attacks or something, you get, well, the benefits at tier 3, I can remember those. God forbid I actually have like information to share on this show. But on you start off at tier 3, you start off with all of his upkeeps in place, which is pretty important for him at a 6 focus caster. It's near impossible, and by near impossible I mean it's completely impossible, to get all of his upkeeps out in one turn. So he's got Bullet Dodger, which is +2 defense against range, and if you miss, they get to move. You get Snipe, which is, I hear, a pretty good spell. And
that's the rumor.
The rumor has it, it's a pretty good spell. And then you get Fire for Effect, which is boosted to hit and damage on ranged attacks, first range attacks, and which I hear is a pretty good spell. And then you also get to advance deploy one of your units as a theme bonus.
Mm-hmm.
You get to, and then you get to lay out for every 2 units you have in your army, you get to put out a trench template at 20 inches. So you get all those things, and my list is a minimum unit of Assault Corps, the monkeys,
mm-hmm.
and then you've got a full unit of High Shields with the UA. I've got the TAC Corps in there because they're sort of awesome.
Yeah.
I've got the Hammer Dwarves, and then I have an Earthbreaker, and I have let's see, what else do I have? Oh, and because I'm running Earthbreaker, it's like required that I have Thor.
Yeah, I thought that went without saying.
Yeah, I think that they are actually, he's actually a unit attachment, and it's a required unit attachment for the Earthbreaker.
He's riding that thing's back like a monkey.
Yup, and it's a good thing too. So I can't possibly fathom taking Earthbreaker without him. So, which is fine because you probably don't want to run 2 Rulic Warcasters in a tournament situation anyway.
Funny enough, I did it the last ATC.
Well, I've done it too, and I've won tournaments with it and stuff. But I think that there are other options, which is fine, and that way you can have another list. But the Osram, I faced off against Viros 1, and he was not in theme, but it was a good game. I appreciate this was a game that I faced off against Joe from the store, the gentleman that gave me the Magnus 1, and he's a brushhead, and we had a really good game. But the ability to throw out a 4-inch pie plate that knocks everything down, and then throw a pie plate on top of it that causes rough terrain is a big deal. So that was it was a good game. I appreciate the game. I also played. I forgot when we were doing pre-show preparations, and yes, we do pre-show preparations on this silly ass show. I got a game in with my buddy Zach, who I played that Ostrom list against, and I frustrated the living daylights out of him by knocking down things and then putting rough terrain, 4 inches of rough terrain around them. and they were jacks. So Pathfinder wasn't a thing. It was Signar.
Oh, yeah, they don't have any Pathfinder for their jacks except Cray.
And he was not playing Cray. He was playing Nemo 1. And he fought back. He fought valiantly. Was a theme list. He had 2 units of Stormblades, and those guys did make it to the party. Not all of them, thank God, but the ones that did sure made a mess when they showed up. And I ended up winning that game. I won the game against Joe from the store, and but I have yet to lose a game with Osram Earthbreaker. That being said, I'll probably go 0-3 at the tournament now that I've made that statement. Or 0-4.
Oof. Well, if I've ever quite gone 0-4. I've had some bad days, though.
Yeah. So he's pretty... I mean, Osram is very terrific with Earthbreaker. I had one other quick bat rep because I know that we're getting into Flippity Bloop territory here. But I played one more game. I played Bart Galleon with the normal loadout, which is Wrong Eye Snap Job, Dougal McNail, Ianon Holt, Ragman, Boom Howlers, and God.
Boom Howlers is kind of different. Usually I see Nis Hunters with them.
I wasn't playing Nis Hunters because I managed to leave one of my Nis Hunters at the store, and I didn't have my full unit. But I had Boom Howlers, and I tell you what, John, I like them a lot with Boom Howlers.
Do you?
Yep, I do. And the reason I like them is because they can sit and contest a zone like a boss, while you use Galleon as to get your work done. And I won both games. I played, I think, 2 games over the course of the week with him, and I'm pretty happy with that Bart Galleon list. So I don't think anybody from my local meta other than Joe is watching this show, and I think I'm probably going to play Bart Galleon and Osram Earthbreaker, even though it'll be like one of the first times in a long time that I've come not fully painted to a tournament. There's just no hope that I'm going to have Earthbreaker painted by next Saturday, considering I'm going out of town this week on business.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm going to be happy with getting this, if I can get a fair amount of paint on good old Rock Bottom tonight. I'll call that victory.
Yeah, close as you can get. As long as you're showing progress. That's what one store always told me.
Hey, you know what? There's a lot to be said for that. So, John, it's 7:34. I'm sorry I'm neglecting the chat room an awful lot because I have my glasses off because I want to be able to see what the F I'm doing. It's Flippity Bloop time.
Indeed it is.
Let's get the bloop with it.
All right. Well, I'm going to start over here in the mom forums.
Before we get our first Flippity Bloop, I've got to release the Kraken. I don't want to forget our traditions here on the show. Tradition is what makes Painting with Moth John special.
Indeed.
So, do you have any Kraken?
No, I'm going to use Cherry Coke. I don't want to get...
Okay. You don't want to get hammered? For some reason, this stuff has stopped having an effect on me. I think I'm immune to it. I've got immunity Kraken. All right, so here we go. Hey, Ron!
Ron.
All right, flip that bloop at me.
All right, first one's from Rydia Fan.
Oh, God.
And he asked us to rank the bonds and explain our work.
Okay. All right. I'll go first, but then I want to see if yours is any different, John.
Okay.
Okay, so first off, the number one... Should we go from bottom to top?
Yeah, bottom to top.
Okay, Roger Moore's at the bottom. Roger Moore is just far too campy about it. I never believed him as the suave deboner, and yes, I purposely mispronounced that for him because he likes to hear the word boner. Sort of ladies' man kind of guy, and he was in Moonraker, which is all you need to say, really. Then after that, I guess I'm going to go Timothy Dalton.
Okay.
Because I don't know who else to put down there. And then were there some other ones? I'm saving. I mean, it's pretty obvious who number one is.
Lazenby, he had one.
Oh God, I don't even know who he is. So I'll put him next. And then let's see who was after that. We've got. I mean, obviously Sean Connery's number one. I mean, let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, that one's out of the way.
So he's number one. I've already said Timothy Dalton. Who's that Remington Steele guy? He's number two.
Pierce Brosnan?
Pierce Brosnan, he's number two. I like him.
Leaving Daniel Craig at number 3?
I don't even know who that is. Oh, that's the Skyfall guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he can go. He can go in 3. Because he's not terribly annoying, and I like him. He's kind of a badass, and I'm okay with. James Bond should be a badass.
Yeah, well, mine's similar. I put Lazenby last. I didn't really enjoy that movie so much. Followed by Roger Moore, even though I do like the Bonds because they hit at the right age, where, I was young. It's crazy and it doesn't bother you as much.
Oh, and don't get me wrong. I mean, Roger Moore was my Bond. I mean, that's the Bond I grew up with. I mean, you and I are reasonably similar vintage, right, John? What's your age?
I'm 39.
39? Okay, well, I'm 45. So, I mean, we're not that different. So, I mean, it's... God, you're almost going to be 40. Ha ha. But, yeah, so, I mean, Roger Moore, but so campy. So campy.
Yeah. And then Timothy Dalton after that. I actually did enjoy his stay as Bond. It was a little more serious. It was still a little bit of camp, but I don't know. The stories just sort of suffered then, I think.
I think you're probably right.
And then Brosnan, he was good, but again, like he had a really, really good one, and then it just all started going downhill.
What was his really, really good one?
GoldenEye.
Yeah, I was just gonna say GoldenEye. The fact that it gave us the video game GoldenEye is probably enough to cut him some slack. It's probably why he's not the worst. What's that?
Famke Janssen as the villainess?
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I'm not as huge of a Bond guy as, I know this is sacrilege, but I'm not as huge of a Bond guy as some other people are, but I do appreciate Bond as a character.
Yeah, and then Daniel Craig's number 2 for me. I really enjoyed a different take. I haven't seen Skyfall yet. It just came on Amazon Prime for free, so that'll be in the next week or 2.
Oh shit, that's on for free?
Yeah, on Amazon Prime, yeah.
Yeah, we should watch that for our show next week.
I don't know about next week. I got something else I got to watch.
Okay.
We'll see what time I get.
All right, well, I'll watch it. I'm going to be in Seattle this coming week on business, so I'll probably watch it unless Belinda wants to watch it together. So I'll consult with Miss Belinda and find out what her druthers are. There's some good crap on HBO right now. Holy hell.
Yeah, we New Year's Eve we watched a little bit of what the heck was that called? Eastbound and Down.
Oh,
it was funny. The parts I got to pay attention to when we weren't playing games or drinking.
Okay, well, we're a little bit off topic here from our Flippity Bloop, but there we are, Nathan. I hope you enjoyed that. I did the best I could with it. God bless you.
Indeed.
So,
and then
Flippity Bloop.
The second one, the only other one I'll use is you're given an entire army list to paint. Where do you start, and what kind of assembly lines do you use?
Okay, so I'll start off with this one. Well, why don't you start off this one? Because I did the first one. I don't want to be all over it all the time. So, what do you think?
And if I didn't say that's from the Black Pumpkin,
okay.
Well, I did this for the ATC last year, and really, it doesn't matter where you start. Just start painting. Like I started painting with anything that was similar. I did in little clumps. So I would do a unit at once, and then I would get solos who had similar style of dress together, and I'd paint them at the same time. But don't do too many. Don't do 10-man clumps. That's a heck of a clump. I do 4 or 5-man clumps, and just chug through it.
When you said clump, I thought crump.
No. And then if you're in a time crunch for painting, don't be afraid. Just do the basic. Don't do your washes. Don't do your highlights. Just paint the base coat, touch it up, and be like, it's done for now. I'll come back later.
You know what? That's really good advice. That's really good advice, John.
Yep, and I just need to come back later to some of those models. I got about half of the ones that I had not finished, but then I switched to red, so the rest are sitting there waiting.
For me, it was a matter of I'm terrible at painting like large groups of things. I tend to start with warjacks just because I like painting the fact that it gives you the accomplishment of a full kind of one big thing done when you're completed. And as I've looked at my models and stuff like that, I've tended to finish my jacks first, then my solos second, and my units last. Now, if I was a thinking man, if I really had my crap in a group, I would break up my solos with individual pieces of my units so that it felt like I was painting a solo. But yeah, I don't really do that. So, by the way, this model is one that I purchased from Gadebloke. This was part of the original Rulick purchase I got from Chris Miller.
Just getting some painting now.
Yeah, tells you how much the rock bottom hits the table. It took a fire for. I don't have pirates. It took a fire for effect spell to get rock bottom some love. So let's see. I think that answered the question. Flippity Bloop.
All right.
You might want to refresh. You might want to refresh your page, John, because I'm seeing some stuff coming in on. My phone's been buzzing, and I've been seeing some stuff coming in on the Pages Manager stuff. I think we're getting a couple questions here from the brush heads.
Oh yeah, they're showing up on the actual Flippity Bloop one.
Oh, nice.
Well, I'm going to start at one of the other threads that also has some questions.
Okay.
And Alan Green asks, this one specifically for you.
Love you, Alan.
What Menoth models do you not own and why?
This is a quick one for me. I own all of them. There's not a. In fact, I even have Flamebringers. I have. I have 2 Sunburst Deliverer crews. That should tell you something. And while I love those guys, they almost never hit the table because there are other things I put in their place. And light artillery is great as a specialist, but isn't so hot otherwise. But of all the models that I have, I mean, maybe I'm going to reform the question a little bit so that it's a little bit more relevant for my situation. And I'm going to say what models don't hit the table frequently. The Flamebringers have yet to make the table, and they're brand new. I kind of bought them because I was drunk. And the reason that I don't play them is they occupy a large point sink in a faction that loves to bring its support. And there's a lot of support you can bring for that kind of points that if there was a better way for it to get work done, I would be happier about it. I'm going to try it. I've got a list made up for Thyra where I just put like all the fast shit I could find in one list. Quick question, John. Do you think that Lord Rockbottom wears gloves or not?
I'd say probably not.
Okay. That makes a decision. I was going to decide whether or not I was going to actually... God, this cord. Whether or not I was going to paint the hands or if I with this flesh color or not, and I'm going to now. By the way, Nevendar, you're still on my shit list for suggesting the boom holder should be pink. Just letting you know.
Oh, now he's suggesting that you should paint the barrels of a Bond set from Games Workshop.
Yeah, you can go die in a fire, Nevendar. I love you, but you can die in a fire. That's the first time I've wished any of the brush heads to die in a fire. I want that to go down as on record. Oh, something else just came in.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that's my wife's phone.
Okay.
She's been trying to get it to work. Anyways, since you rephrased the question, in Ret, what do I have that doesn't see the table?
Yeah.
I haven't used the Pain Knight yet, though I want to.
Which one?
Scarathisrin.
Oh my God. Knight. He is so god dang good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and get him in with Ron, because I think TK gave him
Hey, Ron! Sorry. Let me tell you a little something about Gareth Eisen. That guy kills whatever he touches.
Yeah. Besides that, it's just the light jacks. I mean, aside from a Chimera here or there, I don't really use too many of the light jacks.
You know, that's an interesting discussion topic, John. You know, I'm going to throw this out to the brushheads. And maybe this is something that we want to just post something on the website, on the Facebook page or not. But what would it take to make light jacks more relevant than they are? Because as I think about light jacks, when I think about Protectorate, I see the occasional Revenger. The Repenter is straight up business. But once you get beyond there, it becomes a little. The Devout sees some play because of its shield guard capacity. I don't see near as many light jacks on the table as I might like to see.
I thought about that in the shower with the red ones a little bit, and I feel
Whoa,
that.
whoa, 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 whoa! No shower talk here on Painting with Menoth, John. We don't. We're a family program here, John.
I feel like aside from the Griffin, Griffin Aspis, they should just be a point cheaper. I'm gonna look at them more.
That's an interesting point. Because I mean, the Repenter can't be a point cheaper. My
No.
God, it's for 4 points. It's the best 4-point heavy in the game.
Well, could the Griffin be 3 points? That would be silly.
Yeah, the Griffin's amazing.
Same with the Aspis. 3 points for that chunk of beef? No.
No.
God, no.
God, that Aspis is amazing too.
Well, like the Gorgon wouldn't be broken at 4 points. It'd be solid.
Do you play the
It's gotta
Gorgon
be done.
much? Do you play the Gorgon much?
I have played it a couple times, not too often. I own 2 or 3 or something.
I like the Gorgon. I only own 1. I wish I owned 2.
It's just at 5 points. It's hard to fit in.
If anybody out there watching the podcast would like to paint and send me a Gorgon, let me know, and I will. I'll give you my paint scheme, and you can paint one for me. Anyway, just kidding. I am not going to be that guy that turns this into getting shit for free podcast. Unless I get to paint something back for you. Now, Gex the Lizard is painting something for me, but she's going to get something back too. I've got a model in mind for her.
Cool.
She paints she makes the most amazing. She's like doing a holiday theme on her cricks. So she's got a Valentine's Day bone jack, and let me tell you, it's the cutest thing with mandibles.
Awesome.
She's every kind of amazing. I dig Gex the Lizard. She's I was here kind of just hanging out by myself. My kids went back to their moms this weekend, and she painted with me a couple times on Skype, and I very much appreciate that. She's good people in my book.
Excellent. Well, I think we're probably done with that particular question.
Okay. Yep.
Next one, I'm just going to give a shout out to Scott Hevel II. He asked a nice question that would have been great for Norbert, but that didn't go off as planned. So try and remember to ask it again next time, Scott.
Yeah. And what was the question?
It was, is there any place for washes, shades, and glazes in competition level painting?
I'm going to say I don't know what. I have no reference point, as competition painting is not something that I do. And I don't even know that Norbert does, to be honest with you. God bless the guy. He was the reason we were going to have Norbert on was to demonstrate a dipping technique. And rarely do dipping techniques win competitions, but they are a great way to get a lot of models painted in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, his stuff looks legit. Hopefully we'll get that one rescheduled and up.
Yep. You know, I'll try to look up, maybe we can get Meg Maples to come on, and because she's, I took all of the Privateer Press people off of my Facebook list because I wanted to be able to voice my opinion without causing problems. And I took Meg off there, and I may reach back out to Meg and ask her if she'd be willing to. Once I figure out how to do the thing with Norbert that I'm trying to do, then I'll ask Meg if she would like to come on shoot the bull with the brush heads. Because she's not beholden to anybody. And that girl can paint.
Yeah, indeed. Her stuff's great.
For those of you interested, I will never have a Privateer Press employee on this show. Just so you know, just so you're not disappointed, it's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because it's too much work. Yeah, there is a lot of scrutiny that goes into what you say, what you don't say. And while we do keep it very positive here on Painting with Menoth, John, I am never going through the approval process that I had to when I was working on Lost Hemisphere Radio ever again. That just simply is not going to happen. Love you guys, but I'm not bringing privateer people on. So, anyway, Flippity Bloop.
All right, now another one from Scott Hebel II.
Love you, Scott.
What's your favorite terrible unit of any faction?
Oh, terrible unit?
Yes.
I'm going to let you go first. Ha! There you go. Host's privilege to put the co-host on the spot.
Well, luckily I'm ready for it.
Oh, shit!
Going with what people commonly think terrible, my favorite are the Devil Dogs.
Oh, talk to me about the Devil Dogs.
Well, I mean, 7 points for 10 men is not a bad cost to start, and one of those is Sam McCorn herself was 5 wounds and pretty good stats and a hand cannon.
And hot!
Yeah, and the rest of those guys just have versatility against most things. I mean, they have CRA with their slug guns, and yes, slug guns don't reach far, but it's still a gun. It's POW 14. And if not, you've got POW 10, which is solid, and if you knock something down, extra die is good stuff. And even better, if you knock it down, like let's say you're stuck in afterwards, you knock it down with the chain nets, and then you shoot it while it's down because you're no longer engaged, and you just put a bunch of POW 14s into it.
Do you ever bring a Buccaneer with them and run it as a Jack Marshal?
The better question would be, do I ever not? I always do. It's like, it's 10 points. It's self-contained. That Buccaneer's pretty solid. It gives Sam +2 armor if she's hanging out next to it. Jack Marshal Pronto is legit.
I am going to have a moment of confession here, John.
Oh.
I do not own a Buccaneer.
Oh, my lord.
Gotta fix that situation. If I'm
I have to buy more. I need like 3.
Oh, I need at least 1.
Knock everything down. Knock down the world.
Everything. It's amazing how much easier it gets to hit things when they're knocked down.
That being said, they are still not necessarily the best unit, but I love them. They're actually the first unit I painted for War Machine. I actually had them in my ATC list, but the fates conspired to not actually have me keep them in the list because of specialists.
Let me ask you a question. Is Sam's model as cute as the artwork?
No.
Oh.
Remember, they're kind of older.
That's too bad. Yeah, they're very old, actually.
But one bonus is, unlike all the other models with the extra accoutrement, if you will, like Nis Hunters, theirs actually will fit on the model and not look silly.
There is that.
Because you can put the extra slug gun on their side, looks fine. You can put the axe on their back, looks fine. Or for the one guy, you can put both on, it still looks good.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, the Nis Hunters are a little bit hard to look at with all their shit on them. It's like, really? Really?
Yeah, I just went with the sheath or whatever they're actually using and called that good.
Yeah, I've got all the parts on mine somehow, except for what's her face, Selena. I broke down and put the bow at her feet.
And she's super tiny.
Yeah,
she's smaller than the rest of them.
Yes, she is. And so, but I'm the proud owner of a fully assembled, fully painted unit of those clowns.
I'm working on it.
You will get there, Grasshopper. As for me, my favorite, most hated unit, I'm going to go with Idrians. I think Idrians are amazing if properly used. They are expensive as shit, and they are paying the price for how amazing they were in Mark 1. They still have prey, so they go up to I believe POW 12 on their guns.
13.
13? Okay, they're POW 11s.
Yeah, they're multi-rifles.
Yep, and oh, you know, you're a Mercs player. Um, they they have the ability to get defense incredible. They have the with the dig in. I think they're overlooked a lot of times. This is because well, Idrians, and but I sure like them. I need to build more lists with them. My list that I'm making for the Flamebringers, believe it or not, actually has Idrians in it because I want something super fast. And it by having some more things that are going to be way out in front, the Idrians are going to live longer and are going to get more work done.
Yeah, they're good. It's just hard. I know a lot of people see like Aaron's Idrians, and it's hard to take the Idrians or with the Aaron's sitting right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, errants are cool and all that kind of stuff. POW 10 without CRA though, you got to pick and choose your stuff pretty darn carefully.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's that question. Any more on Flippity Bloops?
I got one more before refreshing,
Okay.
and it's from Neek.
Oh,
Neek
neat.
asks, do you have any tips concerning painting motivation? You seem to paint a lot of models each week and don't seem to be burned out on it ever.
I'll be very honest with you, Nick. I go in fits and spurts. I really do. Here's some of the tips that I've got. Start a podcast where you are painting every Sunday at 7 p.m. And that will motivate you to, and this is straight up honest, it sounds like I'm being flippant, but it'll force you to finish the models you started on the show beforehand, and then all of a sudden other things get painted along the way, it seems like. And the other thing to do is find somebody to paint with online, like Skype. Like here this week with Gex the Lizard, I painted a couple of things. She was highly motivational to me, and I very much appreciate her camaraderie on that one. And let's see, what else can I do? Um, for me, this week was very productive because I was trying some new things. I was experimenting with some new techniques. Like, I'm still learning object source lighting with my airbrush. So the Steelsoul Protector was very motivational for me. The water effects on my gators was very motivational for me. In recent past, with the rise of rust and the corrosion that I've been doing, that was very motivational to me. So I would say, Neek, if you're looking for some things that are going to help kind of drive you forward, that might be a way to go. What about you, John? What makes you move forward on your painting?
I agree with everything you said. I get a lot of painting done when I'm at the store and decide to paint because we have painting tables, just blocks of 4 or so tables, spots together, and we all just chat and paint. And I think the biggest thing is to sign up for a tournament way in advance, something like that. But you have to have it painted. It will give you motivation to get it done.
I absolutely agree with both of those points.
Unless your name's Banian, and then you'll get part of it done and borrow the rest from someone else on the team.
It sounds like Banian might be a euphemism for crump.
No, oh, I won't go there. Love you, Banian.
So I agree with both of those things. Back when I was living in Utah, I would go sometimes down to Ogden to paint with the Geek Garage guys. I don't know if you've heard of the Geek Garage or not, but I encourage you guys out there, the brushheads, to take and Google Geek Garage, and John Salmon and the rest of the guys there at Geek Garage do some amazing painting, and they're from time to time they'll get together and they'll hold a group painting session that was extremely motivational for me. That was worth driving through Sardine Pass and going over the mountain to paint with, let me tell you what. And then I also, what would you say, going to the store, that makes a big difference as well.
If they have a painting area, it definitely helps.
Yep. And that's what's cool about stores like Tower Games in Minneapolis, where I was up there visiting with the Focus and Fury guys. They've got a beautiful painting area along with their gaming boards. It's a really nice store. I don't know how many of you know who Beanish is from the community, but Beanish is a top-notch guy. He bought Tower Games, and it's really a beautiful store. So if you're ever in the Minneapolis area, I highly recommend Tower Games and going and visiting Beanish and all of the guys, Nigel, Caleb, Gex the Lizard, all the fellas, Jamie, all the fellas from the Focus and Fury guys are super sweet. Love them to death, and you should come up there and spend some time with them.
Word.
Word to your mother, damn it. Flippity Bloop.
We got one last one in here from Joseph Merrick.
Okay.
And this is like a tech question, kind of crazy.
Oh my
How
God.
did you counter cavalry with retribution?
Shoot him.
That's fine. Shoot him or throw a jack at him.
Shoot him. You know, the thing about retribution is they shoot really good. The thing about cavalry, the bad part about cavalry is none of them have stealth.
Or lure them in with something and then smash your PAL 12 weapon masters into them. I hear no one likes PAL 12 weapon masters charging them.
Nope.
And actually, even if you can get the vengeance, if you can lure them out with a couple of the front sentinels and get vengeance into them, they don't like non-charging PAL 12 weapon masters, to be honest.
I will tell you what, nothing makes a horse sadder than Stormfall archers. Because they hit from downtown, and they are sporting the brutal damage. And most, if I remember right, most cav is in the 17 range. So it's dice off, let's see, 17, so it's dice off 5. So brutal damage, you're doing 2 plus 3, 5 points of damage each. You're killing the horse every time you shoot. And, by the way, they don't have terribly good defense. So you stand them still, you shoot them from downtown, brutal damage, blammo. Alternately, may I suggest something called the Invictors?
Invictors are the answer to many, many problems.
Yep, Invictors are just amazing. If you're not playing with Invictors, you're doing it wrong. They are POW 12, and they hit from. They have snipe as a mini feat with the UA, and if you're not taking the UA, you're doing it wrong. And they are wonderful. They have Rat 6, do they not?
They do.
Yep. So Rat 6, they get CRA. If you get them into melee, they're not as awesome. They're only POW 10 with their gun swords, but you put them with a jack like a Griffin for 4 points because they are Jack Marshall. Because everything in Retribution is frickin' Jack Marshall.
Yeah.
And you get flank, so that's an extra die of damage on your on the damage, and they get +2 to hit. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, I've had 2 shots of Kraken and a beer, so just making sure my fact checking is going well. Is that the end of the Flippity Bloops?
It is.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. I was a little concerned about Flippity Bloop tonight, that we weren't going to have enough Flippity Bloop to go around. But thanks to the Brush Heads and their last-minute contributions. As always, we love the Brush Heads. And I'm going to pour out a shot of Kraken for the Brush Heads right now. Too bad you can't be here to drink it. But I'll do that for you, because that's just the kind of guy I am. We'll put him down here next to Rock Bottom, who's making some pretty good progress.
He is.
And it is 8:04. We're a little behind schedule, but we love being behind schedule on Painting with MkII, John, because it means we're talking a lot. And for those of you out there, the brush heads, the epic brush heads, all of the brush heads, as a matter of fact. And to John, this one's for you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
I guess I should call them legendary brush heads. Shouldn't call them epic brush heads, because I don't think there's going to be a third version of them. Anyhow, so that brings us to the third half hour of the Painting with MkII, John show, where we talk about media and other things that have caught our eye. I'm going to start off this one. No, why don't you start off? Because I think you've got 2 to talk about, John, and I only have 1. So I'm going to have you start off with your first one. Which one do you want to go with first?
Actually, I remember the third one.
Oh, shit!
I remember from talking about we watched New Year's Eve, and it's not a full movie review. It's a portion of a movie review. And Centervale knows where I'm going.
Uh-oh.
We were flipping channels and came to a movie called Blubberella.
Oh my God, Blubberella. Okay, let me take a guess. I'm going to guess that it is something along the lines of a takeoff on Barbarella.
It's not. It's actually, from reading other articles, it's a shot-for-shot remake of Blood Rain: The Third Reich by the same crappy director.
Oh my God.
Uwe. Everyone loves Uwe.
Oh, no one loves Uwe.
And it's basically a fat woman in the role of Blood Rain. Same basic plot, just they tried to make it sort of like a Naked Gun or Airplane, and it's horrible.
I'm sorry. The only reason I'm turning into Blood Rain is for hot chicks in leather.
And Centerville, it is not the best movie ever.
I'm sorry, Centerville. You are now revoked. Your status as legendary brushhead has now been revoked.
He tried to get people to watch it on Facebook. I had to save everyone. There were a couple funny moments, and it seems like it's one of those movies. If someone would make a clip show on YouTube of the funniest moments, it would be hilarious. But watching the whole movie, oh my God,
that's hysterical.
When the best actor in there is Ron Howard's brother.
Yeah, he's got kind of a creepy face.
And then followed by Michael Pare, who is not turning in his best work ever. That would have been Streets of Fire, I think. Yeah, Streets of Fire.
Oh my God!
Maybe Eddie and the Cruisers.
I love Streets of Fire.
Yeah. So that was our first one. We flipped through. We had a couple funny lines, which I will not repeat here because this is a relatively family podcast.
You know, we don't have any kind of like a formal rating system because we don't. This isn't a podcast per se, so we don't have to worry about the Nazis at iTunes and all that kind of stuff. And I use Nazis in only the kindest ways to refer to those fine folks at Apple. But is it possible to use Nazis in a kind way?
I don't know.
I think I'm stretching things on that one, perhaps. Just perhaps. But yeah, I appreciate you not going completely blue on us.
And in our new revised Kraken rating scale,
yes,
I give that 5 out of 5 shots of
Kraken. Oh my God!
Best be done when you watch that movie.
That's a benchmark, John. You've just set a new benchmark. 5 out of 5 Krakens.
We were done drinking by then. I just felt like we should be drunk for this.
I just took a little swig of Kraken just because of that.
I feel like I need to get my bottle just because I talked about it.
Why don't you do that while I talk about my movie? Because my movie is much better. It is a fantastic movie. And for any of you who are parents out there, and even if you're not a parent, you know what? If you like dinosaurs, and frankly, if you're watching this show, why don't I have some more to drink? If you're watching this show and you're not a fan of dinosaurs, we need to have a talk. But I want to recommend Walking with Dinosaurs. This is an amazing movie. It is it's by BBC Earth or something like that is the name of the film company.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went into it, I was not expecting it to be an educational movie. And it turned out that this is a highly entertaining movie with educational overtones. And the voice of the other thing I was expecting it to be was all computer-generated animation. I expected no live action at all. And I must have had enough to drink here because I am making a mockery of what I'm doing with my paintbrush right now. But anyway, what I was expecting was all computer animated all the time. I guess I was expecting Ice Age. And it could not have been less Ice Age. It was started off with live action, and then it very smartly transitioned into a computer-generated adventure. And John Leguizamo, who could be the most irritating human on the planet, who does the voice of the sloth on Ice Age movies, turns in a tour de force as the bird that tells the story of this dinosaur. And there is a, I'm not going to go spoilers on you, but there is a section where they're talking about, they explain what the different dinosaurs as they encounter them are kind of like. It takes kind of a detour and gives them the scientific name for them and says kind of what they were about and what they did and all that kind of stuff. And they get to a like a T-Rex kind of a dinosaur with little tiny hands. The comedic timing of that sequence is unlike, almost, I was crying during the movie. I was laughing so hard. So I could not more highly recommend Walking with Dinosaurs. It's in the theaters now. It's an amazing movie. Take your kids if you have them. If you don't have any kids, just go and pretend you're a kid, because if you're watching this show, you got a little bit of kid in you, and that's what we love about you, all you brushheads out there. So that's that is okay for my rating. I'm going to give that literally one shot of Kraken.
Fair enough. It sounds good. I might have to check it out if I get the time.
It's actually like half a shot of Kraken, but I wasn't sure I wanted to go
there. Fair enough. Could it be 0 shots of Kraken?
I don't know if we have a 0 shots of Kraken.
Sure.
Is it? Okay, well I'm gonna give it a half a shot of Kraken. Because I guess it could be better. There's gotta be something out there that is, I mean, the first time I saw Pacific Rim, that was pretty much a 0 shot of Kraken. But anyway.
Yeah. All right, well, my next one is I actually finished watching The Two Towers. I watched the second half of that.
Nice.
And my thought, watching it again after a couple of years, is I love Legolas, but for the love of God.
That's legit.
They took his stuff and just made it. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this is cool, this is awesome. You come back now and you're like, it really does stand out a little bit when he's surfing down the stairs on that shield.
I blame the Hobbit for that particular realization, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. It takes me out of the movie for a split second, then everything's cool again, but it's just like, for a moment you're like, really? He couldn't have just backflipped off the top, shooting an arrow, landing on his feet, being badass?
Nope.
That would have been fine. It wouldn't have taken you out of the movie.
Yep.
But, hey, that and, I don't think that the King of Rohan, whose name escapes me right now, Theoden,
yep.
I don't think he's a good king.
No, bad king overall.
Yeah, granted, he had some bad times for overreacting to Sauron's control, but
yep.
Rule 1, listen to Aragorn. Aragorn knows what he's talking about.
He's a bad king. I don't think there's really any way you can get around it. Terrible, terrible king.
And then the Eowyn Aragorn quasi-love triangle thing.
It's a little heavy.
Not sure necessary, but it wouldn't detract from the movie really.
No, I'm willing to go there with you.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm willing to go there with you.
It's explained. Honestly, of anything, I felt like that movie could have been 2 movies. You could have made that 2 movies.
Have you read the book, John?
No, I fall asleep during the Fellowship.
The the book is literally split in half. It's like it is one half is one part of the story, and the other half is the other part of the story. So when you say it could be split into 2 books, it's actually a fairly profound statement from a person who has not read the books, because it is 2 books split in half, but encased in 1 book.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's good stuff. Still holds up. A couple years later.
Yep.
It's more than a couple.
You know what? I'm still okay with the Lord of the Rings. I've jumped the Hobbit has jumped the shark so hard, but there's not a universe that can keep me from seeing the Battle of 5 Armies.
Yeah. And then you only had the one this week?
No, I had no. I did only have the one. I'm sorry. I watched. Okay, in very briefly, I watched Pitch Black. Watched the cartoon that takes place literally within the time frame between Pitch Black and the Riddick movie, and then I watched Riddick, and I actually found that I enjoyed the Riddick movie, the sequel to Pitch Black, way more than I remember enjoying it.
Yeah, I dig that movie. It was a bit different. It doesn't really. I'm sure in the viewings you notice that it doesn't really fit the technology level they set out, sort of the feel of the universe, but it's still good.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, on your last review, Two Towers. How many shots cracking for the Two Towers?
I'll give it 1.5, but part of that's for Legolas, the other part of that's for all the Sam and Frodo walking and Jesus walking.
So 3/4 of a shot is Legolas surfing down a stairway, and 3/4 of a shot is the Sam and Frodo
Yeah,
homoerotic thing that's going on.
like I know it's necessary for the story, and I mean, Sam's my favorite character from one of my favorite characters from that series, but it's just the
Yeah.
pacing.
I get it. Walking around is not as much fun as other things.
Yeah,
So cool. All right, so I'm going to get back so I'm going to give Pitch Black one shot.
yeah.
I'm going to give the cartoon that takes place. I'm going to give that actually half a shot.
It's pretty legit.
It's really good. The cartoon. It's very anime style. It is.
I think it was by the guys who did Aeon Flux, or at least looks that way.
It's if it's not the same guys that do Ion Flux or whatever how you pronounce it, it sure as hell is close to it. And then
Dark Fury. It's called Dark Fury.
Dark Fury. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then I'm going to give the sequel. I have not seen the third Riddick movie. It is now available for like instant watch on PlayStation Network, and I may just go ahead and watch it. I think it's just called Riddick.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but the Chronicles of Riddick movie. Yeah, what did I? If I given it a rating, I'm gonna give it a shot and a half.
That's fair.
Because I really, although I hated what they did with Jack's character, which is the little girl, I hate what they did with her. Vin Diesel was still effing amazing, and I thought Judi Dench was good in it. We saw a young guy, what's his name, Kurt, the guy that played Bones on the Star Trek series.
Carl Urban.
Yeah, Carl Urban. Thank you. I thought he did an amazing job. All other than freaking what they did to the poor girl, who I thought was a nice character from Pitch Black. The rest of it, I thought the rest of it was pretty good. So, you've got one more though for movies, don't you, there, John?
I do, but before that, I want to one note for you when looking at Riddick.
Yep.
The best thing I've heard about when you watch Riddick is just keep in mind he's Space Conan. If you keep that in mind, everything's going to be better.
He is kind of Space Conan.
Yeah, he is.
Wow. Because of the way the movie ends up, too.
Yeah.
He's totally Space Conan.
One of my podcasts mentioned that, and I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Okay, now I can get behind that. Now it's down to a half. Actually, with that in mind, it's a half. It's literally a half a shot, because Pitch Black, while awesome, the sheer visual beauty of the Chronicles of Riddick pushes it a half a shot down.
There you go.
Very nice. Excellent. Hey, Ron! Now, you've got a movie to share with me that I've never heard of before.
Indeed, The Losers.
Talk to me about The Losers, because I'm always interested in losers, because I kind of am one. Anyway.
It's based off a comic series from what I understand. It's from a couple years ago.
Okay.
Can't tell off the back of the DVD or Blu-ray cover what time, but a couple years ago. Came out about the same time as the A-Team, and honestly, it's kind of a better A-Team movie than the A-Team was. Not that I don't like the A-Team, but it's five guys who are special forces who I don't want to give away everything, but
No.
they have to do A-Team type stuff. The things that I thought of during the movie was very good cultural diversity, since in the six main characters you deal with, there's only two white guys.
Nice.
You've got the sniper who's sort of Hispanic descent, then you got Idris Elba and another black guy, and then you've got Zoe Saldana there too.
Ooh, Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a really good movie. It's really fun. The bad guy's a little weak at times.
Did Idris Elba at any time during the movie call off the apocalypse?
No, he didn't call off the apocalypse.
Damn it! He could have saved the whole. He could have saved so much trouble.
No spoilers, but yes, he could have.
Oh shit! The Losers, right? This is what it's called.
The Losers, yeah. It's good fun. It's got Chris Evans in it as one of the two. He's the nerdy computer tech.
Okay.
And he's Captain America too. He was so good in that role. You just Oh
my God!
So awkward around girls and everything. You're like, he's a legitimate actor.
Yeah, it's hard for him not to be awesome around girls, I bet.
No, but it's awkward around girls. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like he makes me go, wow, I could do better than that.
I'm gonna. You know what, John? What's giving me an idea here is that we might have to have a Painting with John movie club.
Oh, movie club. That's interesting.
I just kind of had that inspiration just now, and we'll keep it to Netflix because a lot of people have Netflix online, and we'll plan on putting out a nominee for movie club next week during the show. We're not going to do it right now because I don't want to cause a problem, and we'll give everybody a week to watch it. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know what to watch this week, and I'm going to be out of town. So, do you have something you want to nominate, John?
I have to check to see what's available. I don't want to pop something out there because between my Blu-ray collection, I actually don't have Netflix, but I have Amazon Prime, so I get a lot of the same stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll consult, and I'll make sure that it's something that is on Amazon Prime and on Netflix, both.
Yeah, we can make sure we cover all the bases.
Yep. And so, folks out there, brushheads, keep an eye out for the Painting with MkII John website, Facebook site for the movie club, and we will pick a movie that is both on Amazon Prime and on Netflix, and that way folks, the brushheads that are there in the chat room can go ahead and comment on it, as well as John and I can comment on that here on the Painting with MkII John show. So, what a great show, John.
Yep. Am I rating a loser since we didn't get there?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it one shot at cracking out of 5.
There
are a couple parts you're just like, but if you like action movies, you're in all the way.
We're setting the bar pretty high with some of our ratings this week.
Well, I find that I enjoy more movies than I don't. It takes a heck of a bad movie to make me not like it.
And that's kind of in keeping with me too. I mean, it's if I'm going to have an hour and a half, I'm going to sit down and watch a movie. Chances are better than not, I'm not going to pick a shitty movie. It's just, I don't have that kind of time to waste. If I'm going to have 2 hours, I'm going to put on, I'm going to paint or something. I do have a recommendation though for the brushheads out there for YouTube, and that is to look up mini wargaming on YouTube. They do a lot of Warhammer 40K. They do a lot of they do some Infinity recently, and they also do the occasional War Machine, and I really enjoy putting those guys on and then either doing assembly or painting or whatnot. So mini wargaming on YouTube, I recommend them.
And if you can't find me on Facebook. I'll shoot you a link to them. I'm subscribed as well. They're good stuff.
Yep. Or shoot something to me at on the Painting with MkII John. I may just put up a link to them just because I want to be nice. and they are super fantastic as far as Centerville. We're not falling for the 5 out of 5.
No, he said he could give it 10 out of 5 shots of Kraken for that one.
Oh, okay. Well, 10 out of 5. That is a plenty bad rating, because
That's called unconsciousness.
That's really not. We can't condone that.
Yeah, that's called having an alcohol problem at that point.
And while we do encourage the drinking of alcohol on the show, we do not encourage the dying of alcohol poisoning at all. So, you know what? We're going to finish this show with almost 20 people on this in this chat room.
Well, that's pretty legit.
We've got 19 in there right now. I'm super excited for all of you who have been here during the show today. I think we made good progress. I've got Lord Rockbottom here. He's coming along. You won't see another moment on the brush while I'm here. I've got to actually pack my bag and get ready for tomorrow. My 2 little pork missiles turned out pretty cool. They're coming up here on the show, and I'm going to, for those of you who are interested, I am going to corrode their armor using the typhus corrosion and Ryza rust technique. That if you want to look at it, it's there on YouTube to watch. And God, I'm sorry to make any headway on the attendant priest, but here he is. He's got a base coat. I did a bunch of. I mixed up some Sanguine base and Windex, and airbrushed him up, so he's looking sweet. And I'm going to keep the Aaron Seneschal down here to keep him company, so that you can see how awesome he's going to look when he's done. And John, I think that's a show. Do you have anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, I wanted to let everyone know that the sign-ups for the ATC have started.
Awesome.
So get yourself 2 buddies and sign up. Team Shooting Blanks is going to go back down. It's actually a little closer to me, at least. It's in a little more central Tennessee now, closer to Chattanooga, I believe they said. But hey, sign up, come play, have a good time. You'll see myself, Banian, and Bowie there, hopefully. Should be all 3 of us, and a good time. We're trying to get a second team together from our store to go to.
Fantastic. That sounds great. I'm going to... Menoff John and his nuts are still planning on being a part of the TempleCon team tournament. That's coming up here in February. We're not there very far away. As it turns out, I'm not taking a train to TempleCon. I'm going to drive.
Great googly moogly.
That will be 16 hours of driving. So my buddy Brian Culp and I are going to be driving down together. It's going to be good times. There will be no Kraken while we're driving, but it'll be good enough. And so, anyway, well, I'm going to start the music up a little bit there, John.
All right.
Let's go ahead and bring up the music. There it is. Music that keeps me from being available on mobile devices. Because YouTube sniffed it out that I'm allegedly playing, the Bob Ross music. Brushheads, this wouldn't be a show without you. And I want to thank Tao Dark. I want to thank Gex the Lizard. I want to thank Ghost Tex. I want to thank all of the legendary brushheads. We've got 19 people at sign-off. Or Sasakta here. We've got Blazing Napalm, because there's some other kind of napalm, I guess. Everybody out there in the TADGO, everybody that's in the chat room, thank you very much. It wouldn't be a show without you guys. I hope you've enjoyed what we've had to bring to the party today. And we will be here, same bat time, same bat channel next week. So on behalf of John Spencer, on behalf of myself, Menoff John, I hope you've enjoyed Painting with Menoff John. And we'll see you next week, 7 p.m. Central, right here on twitch.tv/menoffjob.